Hello everyone! Hold on, let me get cozy for a second, okay? We need to be cozy today. Today's cozy stream. Okay. Preemptively fixing my shrimp position. Slightly not ready because I was held hostage by Coco. Because she suddenly wanted to cuddle, and you know, what can you do if your cat wants to cuddle? You can't just leave. You can't just be like, oh, I got a stream. Well, I told her, hey Coco, I got a stream, but she didn't let me. But hey everyone! It is Friday, and it is our special reading Friday for Christmasism. I picked a very festive background today to fit the mood. And yeah, today it's story time, but first of all, let me greet everyone. Hello everyone. Hold on. Oh my god, my chat doesn't want to scroll. Okay, there we go. Hi Hacker, 4 Elemental, Duiro, Hosan, Aken, Shinta, Dante, Ice, Sora, RJ, Empty Solace, Movic, Hado, Fanuel. There we go. I think I got everyone. Subdued by, yeah, subdued by one of my feline overlords. The other one is EP outside. Patapon, hey there. Merry Christmas, thank you. It's so crazy because it's actually Christmas next week. Well, depending on where you live, depending on whether you celebrate it at all, and if you celebrate it on the 24th or the 25th. Over here we celebrate on the 24th, so it's on Sunday, I think? Yeah, it's Sunday. It's next Sunday already. Oh my god. I don't know. Christmas on a Sunday feels weird. I don't know why. I don't think I like Christmas on a Sunday. Hey Jumpman, welcome! In Argentina, it's the same. You think it's the 24th and 25th. Yeah. So we have, we're giving presents to each other on the 24th, and then the 25th and 26th are Christmas days. And they're usually filled with, you know, spending time with the family and eating a lot of good food. And just a lot of food in general. So, yeah. That's gonna be a feast. But honestly, that's also one of the things I look forward to the most about Christmas. It's all the good food. It's all the good food. In return, we don't have something like, what's it called? Thanksgiving. That's the one I was looking for. We don't have Thanksgiving, for example. I think that's when other parts of the world eat a lot of good food. Fattening time! Yeah! But it's fine because it's winter. We can just pretend, we need it. Oh no, you'll work on the 24th and 25th? Oh my god. Well, luckily, I say luckily, actually there is people that have to work on the 24th, on Christmas Day. They won't have to work as long usually because shops close a lot sooner, but a lot of them have to work, and it's like, it's terrible, but at least they can go home a little bit sooner. Ah, Coco. Aw, she has switched places. You work until 4 PM in Switzerland. Oh, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I think most stores have until 2 PM over here. Maybe 4 actually. But I think most of them are until 2. Same on New Year's Eve. You work until the 31st. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. But here it's also like, oh, you work like crazy because it's Christmas time is always so busy. You work like crazy, and then Christmas! You have 3 days off, and then you go back to work. Work, crazy work, because then comes New Year. And then you work until New Year's. And then you have another, then it's like New Year's! You have a free day, and then it's like, okay, back to work. Will you do something for Christmas? Well, first of all, the reading streams we're doing are a especially done for Christmas, so this is kind of my Christmas special, but I also have a gift for you guys for Christmas, but I don't know if it will be done before Christmas. It's not in my hands, but I hope you will still get it this year. So there's something coming, okay? There's something on the way. Be prepared for that. It's just a question of will it be ready in time, but it's not in my hands. No, not all I want for Christmas, no. All I want for Christmas is my super special secret present. There we go. Ending the year really sucks in many jobs. Yeah, it gets super busy. My job also gets super busy all of a sudden, despite not giving me work for several months, and then now they're throwing everything at me, and it's like, okay. I mean, I take the money, but like, come on, man. It's everything at once. Grandma's soon bedtime story. Yes, I'm blabbering on too much, aren't I? There's no Danke geben in Germany. Crazy. No, we don't have Thanksgiving. Is the super secret project Coco and Piper VTuber models? Nah, but that would be funny. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, and Cinnia buns. Or whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you want to be. How about we read one of the stories? I brought you 2 short stories today. They are longer than the novels from last time, so that's why I have 2 prepared. But they are very, very interesting short stories. Brain, hello. Very interesting short stories. You don't need any... I know I put it in the title as like wink wink nudge nudge that they're Project Moon related, but you don't need to know anything about Project Moon games if you're not interested in them. Like if you're not one of the people who are here for the Limbus streams and such, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. They're short stories that are conclusive in themselves. And you don't need to know anything, but it's like, if you know the games, it's nice to know these short stories, because the games, like the lore, has a basis on these stories. That's why they're so interesting. That's why I picked those 2. Honestly, this author has like... he mostly writes short stories. So there's a shit ton I could pick from, but I specifically picked these 2 because they have ties to the games. Okay, let me get up the first story. I'm scared to say the author's name because I always butcher it. I believe it's an author from Argentina, actually. It was, sorry. I don't think he's alive anymore. Luis Borges? I don't know. Ask Google how to pronounce it, I guess. But there we go, the first short story. Boom. It's gonna be the Library of Babel, as some of you have already guessed. Yeah, some of you already knew. It's the Library of Babel. And here's a little fun fact. If you finish playing Lobotomy Corporation, the very first Project Moon game, first of all, congratulations for getting through that. Second of all, there's a little teaser at the end of the game, teasing the next game, which is Library of Ruina. As you can guess from the title, the Library of Babel is the base ground for what became the Library of Ruina. And if you finish Lobotomy Corporation, there's a little teaser, and at the end of the teaser, the text reads the Library of Babel, drawing direct reference to the story. And then it kind of evolved into the Library of Ruina. So get your snacks ready, get your drinks ready. We're going in. I will read whatever you write after the story, by the way. just to say that again, because I don't want to interrupt the reading. So I will just go through this. This is 8 pages long. So strap in, everyone! Here we go. The Library of Babel. By this art, you may contemplate the variation of the 23 letters. Anatomy of Melancholy. The universe, which others call the library, is composed of an indefinite, perhaps infinite number of hexagonal galleries. In the center of each gallery is a ventilation shaft, bounded by a low railing. From any hexagon one can see the floors above and below, one after another endlessly. The arrangement of the galleries is always the same. 20 bookshelves, 5 to each side, line 4 of the hexagon's 6 sides. The height of the bookshelves, floor to ceiling, is hardly greater than the height of a normal librarian. One of the hexagon's 3 sides opens onto a narrow sort of vestibule, which in turn opens onto another gallery, identical to the first. Identical, in fact, to all. To the left and right of the vestibule are 2 tiny compartments. One is for sleeping, upright, the other for satisfying one's physical necessities. Through this space, too, there passes a spiral staircase which winds upward and downward into the remotest distance. In the vestibule there is a mirror, which faithfully duplicates appearances. Men often infer from this mirror that the library is not infinite. If it were, what need would there be for that illusory replication? I prefer to dream that burnished surfaces are a figuration and promise of the infinite. Light is provided by certain spherical fruits that bear the name bulbs. There are 2 of these bulbs in each hexagon, set crosswise. The light they give is insufficient and unceasing. Like all the men of the library, in my younger days I traveled. I have journeyed in quest of a book, perhaps the catalogue of catalogues. Now that my eyes can hardly make out what I myself have written, I am preparing to die, a few leagues from the hexagon where I was born. When I am dead, compassionate hands will throw me over the railing. My tomb will be the unfathomable air, my body will sink for ages, and will decay and dissolve in a wind and then engendered by my fall, which shall be infinite. I declare that the library is endless. Idealists argue that the hexagonal rooms are the necessary shape of absolute space, or at least of our perception of space. They argue that a triangular or pentagonal chamber is inconceivable. Mystics claim that their ecstasies reveal to them a circular chamber containing an enormous circular book with a continuous spine that goes completely around the walls. But their testimony is suspect, their words obscure. That cyclical book is God. Let it suffice for the moment that I repeat the classic dictum. The library is a sphere whose exact center is any hexagon and whose circumference is unattainable. Each wall of each hexagon is furnished with 5 bookshelves. Each bookshelf holds 32 books identical in format. Each book contains 410 pages. Each page 40 lines. Each line approximately 80 black letters. There are also letters on the front cover of each book. Those letters neither indicate nor prefigure what the pages inside will say. I am aware that lack of correspondence once struck men as mysterious. Before summarizing the solution of the mystery, whose discovery, in spite of its tragic consequences, is perhaps the most important event in all history, I wish to recall a few axioms. First, the library has existed ab aeternitate. That truth, whose immediate corollary is the future eternity of the world, no rational mind can doubt. Man, the imperfect librarian, may be the work of chance or of malevolent demiurges. The universe, with its elegant appointments, its bookshelves, its enigmatic books, its indefatigable staircases for the traveler, and its water closets for the seated librarian, can only be the handiwork of a god. In order to grasp the distance that separates the human and the divine, one has only to compare these crude trembling symbols which my fallible hand scrolls on the cover of a book with the organic letters inside. Neat, delicate, deep black, and admittedly symmetrical. Second, there are 25 orthographic symbols. That discovery enabled mankind 300 years ago to formulate a general theory of the library and thereby satisfactorily solve the riddle that no conjecture had been able to divine: the formless and chaotic nature of virtually all books. One book, which my father once saw in a hexagon in circa 1594, consisted of the letters MCV, universally repeated from the first line to the last. Another, much consulted in this zone, is a mere labyrinth of letters whose penultimate page contains the phrase "O time thy pyramids." This much is known: for every rational line of forthright statement there are leaks of senseless cacophony, verbal nonsense and incoherency. I know of one semi-barbarous zone whose librarians repudiate the vein of superstitious habit of trying to find sense in books, equating such as quest with attempting to find meaning in dreams or in the chaotic lines of the palm of one's hand. They will acknowledge that the inventors of writing imitated the 25 natural symbols, but contend that that adaptation was fortuitous, conditional, and that books in themselves have no meaning. That argument, as we shall see, is not entirely fallacious. For many years it was believed that those impenetrable books were in ancient or far distant languages. It is true that the most ancient peoples, the first librarians, employed a language quite different from the one we speak today. It is true that a few miles to the right our language devolves into dialect, and that 90 floors above it becomes incomprehensible. All of that, I repeat, is true, but 410 pages of unvarying MCVs cannot belong to any languages, however dialect or primitive it may be. Some have suggested that each letter influences the next, and that the value of MCV on page 71, line 3, is not the value of the same series on another line of another page, but that vague thesis has not met with any great acceptance. Others have mentioned the possibility of codes, that conjecture has been universally accepted, though not in the sense in which its originators formulated it. Some 500 years ago, the chief of one of the upper hexagons came across a book as jumbled as all the others, but containing almost 2 pages of homogeneous lines. Note, in earlier times there was one man for every 3 hexagons. Suicide and diseases of the lung have played havoc with that proportion. An unspeakably melancholy memory. I have sometimes traveled for nights on end down corridors and polished staircases without coming across a single librarian. He showed his finds to a traveling decipherer, who told him that the lines were written in Portuguese. Others said it was Yiddish. Within the century, experts had determined what the language actually was. A Samoyed Lithuanian dialect of Guarani, with inflections from Classical Arabic. The content was also determined. The rudiments of combinatory analysis, illustrated with examples of endlessly repeating variations. Those examples allowed a librarian of genius to discover the fundamental law of the library. The philosopher observed that all books, however different from one another they might be, consist of identical elements: the space, the period, the comma, and the 22 letters of the alphabet. He also posited the fact, which all travelers have since confirmed. In all the library, there are no 2 identical books. From those incontrovertible premises, the librarian deducted that the library is total, perfect, complete, and whole, and that its bookshelves contain all possible combinations of the 22 orthographic symbols, a number which, though unimaginably vast, is not infinite. That is, all that is able to be expressed in every language. All the detailed history of the future, the autobiographies of the archangels, the faithful catalogue of the library, thousands and thousands of the false catalogues, the proof of the falsity of those false catalogues, a proof of the falsity of the true catalogues, the Gnostic Gospel of Basilides, the commentary upon that Gospel, the commentary on that Gospel, The true story of your death, the translation of every book into every language, the interpolations of every book into all books. The treatise Bede could have written, but did not, on the mythology of a Saxon people, the lost books of Tacitus. When it was announced that the library contained all books, the first reaction was unbounded joy. All men felt themselves the possessors of an intact and secret treasure. There was no personal problem, no world problem whose eloquent solution did not exist, somewhere in some hexagon. The universe was justified. The universe suddenly became congruent with the unlimited width and breadth of humankind's hope. At that period, there was much talk of the vindications, books of apologies and prophecies that would vindicate for all time the actions of every person in the universe and that held wondrous arcana for man's futures. Thousands of greedy individuals abandoned their sweet native hexagons and rushed downstairs, upstairs, spurred by the vain desire to find their vindication. These pilgrims squabbed in the narrow corridors, muttered dark imprecations, strangled one another on the divine staircases, threw deceiving volumes down ventilation shafts, were themselves hurled to their deaths by men for distant regions. Others went insane. The vindications do exist. I have seen 2 of them, which refer to persons in the future, persons perhaps not imaginary. Those who went in quest of them failed to recall that the chance of a man's finding his own vindication, or some perfidious version of his own, can be calculated to be 0. At the same period, there was also hope that the fundamental mysteries of mankind, the origin of the library and of time, might be revealed. In all likelihood, those profound mysteries can indeed be explained in words. If the language of the philosophers is not sufficient, then a multiform library must surely have produced the extraordinary language that is required, together with the words and grammar of that language. For 4 centuries, men have been scouring the hexagons. There are official searchers, the inquisitors. I have seen them about their task. They arrive exhausted at some hexagon, they talk about a staircase that nearly killed them. Rungs were missing. They speak with the librarian about galleries and staircases, and, once in a while, they take up the nearest book and leaf through it, searching for disgraceful or dishonorable words. Clearly, no one expects to discover anything. That unbridled hopefulness was succeeded, naturally enough, by a similarly disproportionate depression. The certainty that some bookshelf and some hexagon contained precious books, yet that those precious books were forever out of reach, was almost unbearable. One blasphemous sect proposed that the searches be discontinued and that all men shuffle letters and symbols until those canonical books, through some improbable stroke of chance, had been constructed. The authorities were forced to issue strict orders. The sect disappeared, but in my childhood I have seen old men who for long periods would hide in the latrines with metal discs and a forbidden dice cup, feebly mimicking the divine disorder. Others, going about it in the opposite way, thought the first thing to do was eliminate all worthless books. They would invade the hexagons, show credentials that were not always false, leaf disgustedly through a volume, and condemn entire walls of books. It is to their hygienic, ascetic rage that we lay the senseless loss of millions of volumes. Their name is execrated today, but those who grieve over the treasures destroyed in that frenzy overlook 2 widely acknowledged facts. 1, that the library is so huge that any reduction by human hands must be infinitesimal, and 2, that each book is unique and irreplaceable, but, since the library is total, there are always several 100,000 imperfect facsimiles, books that differ by no more than a single letter or a comma. Despite general opinion, I dare say that the consequences of the depredations committed by the purifiers have been exaggerated by the horror those same fanatics inspired. They were spurred on by the holy zeal to reach, someday, through unrelenting effort, the books of the Crimson Hexagon, books smaller than natural books, books omnipotent, illustrated, and magical. We also have knowledge of another superstition from that period, belief in what was termed the Bookman. On some shelf and some hexagon, it was argued, there must exist a book that is the cipher and perfect compendium of all other books, and some librarian must have examined that book. This librarian is analogous to a god. In the language of this zone, there are still vestiges of the sect that worshipped at the distant librarian. Many have gone in search of him. For 100 years, man beat every possible path, and every path in vain. How was one to locate the idolized secret hexagon that sheltered him? Someone proposed searching by regression. To locate Book A, first consult Book B, which tells where Book A can be found. To locate Book B, first consult Book C, and so on. To infinity. It is in ventures such as these that I have squandered and spent my years. I cannot think it unlikely that there is such a total book on some shelf in the universe. Note, I repeat, in order for a book to exist, it is sufficient that it is possible. Only the impossible is excluded. For example, no book is also a staircase. Though there are no doubts books that discuss and deny and prove that possibility, and others whose structure corresponds to that of a staircase. I pray to the unknown gods that some man, even a single man, tens of centuries ago, has perused and read that book. If the honor and wisdom and joy of such a reading are not to be my own, then let them be for others. Let heaven exist, though my own place be in hell. Let me be tortured and battered and annihilated. But let there be one instant, one creature, wherein thy enormous library may find its justification. Infidels claim that the rule in the library is not sense, but nonsense, and that rationality, even humble, pure coherence, is an almost miraculous exception. They speak, I know of, the feverish library whose random volumes constantly threaten to transmogrify into others, so that they affirm all things, deny all things, and confound and confuse all things, like some mad and hallucinating deity. Those words which not only proclaim disorder, but exemplify it as well, prove, as all can see, the infidel's deplorable taste and desperate ignorance. For while the library contains all verbal structures, all the variations allowed by the 25 autograph symbols, it includes not a single absolute piece of nonsense. It would be pointless to observe that the finest volume of all the many hexagons that I myself administer is titled Coom Thunder, while another is titled The Plaster Cramp, and another Axaxaxaxaxmle. Those phrases, at first apparently incoherent, are undoubtedly susceptible to cryptographic or allegorical reading. That reading, the justification of the word's order and existence, is itself verbal and ex hypothesis already contained somewhere in the library. There is no combination of characters one can make. The for example, that the divine library has not foreseen, and that in one or more of its secret tongues does not hide a terrible significance. There is no syllable one can speak that is not filled with tenderness or terror, that is not, in one of those languages, the mighty name of God. To speak is to commit tautologies. This pointless, verbose epistle already exists in one of the 30 volumes of the 5 bookshelves and one of the countless hexagons, as does its refutation. A number n of the possible languages employ the same vocabulary. In some of them, the symbol library possesses the correct definition, everlasting, ubiquitous system of hexagonal galleries. While a library, the thing, is a loaf of bread or a pyramid or something else, and the 6 words that define it themselves have other definitions. You who read me, are you certain you understand my language? Methodical composition distracts me from the present condition of humanity. The certainty that everything has already been written annuls us, or renders us phantasmal. I know districts in which the young people prostrate themselves before books and live savages kiss their pages, though they cannot read a letter. Epidemics, heretical discords, pilgrimages that inevitably degenerate into brigandage have decimated the population. I believe I mentioned the suicides. which are more and more frequent every year. I am perhaps misled by old age and fear, but I suspect that the human species, and only species, teeters at the verge of extinction. Yet that the library, enlightened, solitary, infinite, perfectly unmoving, armed with precious volumes, pointless, incorruptible, and secret, will endure. I have just written the word infinite. I have not included that adjective out of mere rhetorical habit. I hereby state that it is not illogical to think that the world is infinite. Those who believe it to have limits hypothesize that in some remote place or places the corridors and staircases and hexagons may inconceivably end, which is absurd. And yet those who picture the world as unlimited forget that the number of possible books is not. I will be bold enough to suggest the solution to the ancient problem. The library is unlimited but periodic. If an eternal traveler should journey in any direction, he would find after untold centuries that the same volumes are repeated in the same disorder, which repeated becomes order. The order. My solitude is cheered by that elegant hope. Leticia Alvarez de Toledo has observed that the vast library is pointless. Strictly speaking, all that is required is a single volume of the common size, printed in 9 or 10-point type that would consist of an infinite number of infinitely thin pages. In the early 17th century, Cavalieri stated that every solid body is the superposition of an infinite number of planes. Using that silken vademecum would not be easy. Each apparent page would open into other similar pages. The inconceivable middle page would have no back. And there we go. There we go. Whew! That was the Library of Babel. I need some tea after that. You sure babbled there, Sin? Thanks. I think I found my brain leaking. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. You know what? As celebration, let me turn on the lights. Because it's getting fucking dark again. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this was the Library of Babel, which is the basis for the Library of Ruina, and you can really see that in the game. First of all, by Angela having the main objective of finding the book of all books, right? It's what was mentioned in the story as well, where they try to find the book that, you know, has all the information, and the book that may have the information about the future life or the containments of the life of someone. So here too, people are in search of the ultimate book, and Angela is also in search of the ultimate perfect book. Yeah, the one perfect book. Hi VHack, also hi Bakiasha. Chasing for the book, exactly. And the world in here is just an endless, infinite library. Which, you know, if in Library of Ruina people enter the library, they also usually can't leave and turn into a book instead. And the librarians themselves cannot leave. They're bound to the library. So it's kind of like the librarians living in this story. Phantasm mentioned. Yeah, that was a longer one. That was a longer read. That was also a hard read. I hope I didn't stumble too much over the hard words. I tried to slow down whenever there were hard words coming up, because the thing about our dear Borges, or Borges, or whatever you want to say, is that his vocabulary is rather thick. Let's say it like that. And I will not pretend that I understand all of his sentences. Like, sometimes I will just read a sentence of his and I will be like, ah, yes, I'm sure, I'm sure this makes sense. Anyway, moving on. But like, it's hard to read, but at the same time, it's comprehensive enough that you still understand the story at the end of the day. So that's why I like his short stories a lot. Okay, hold on. I need to catch up on all the chatting. Hey Mike, there's an ending? Well, depends on what kind of player you are. Technically, there's no end to Lobotomy Corp. At least it feels like that often. I can't believe this author ripped off Angela. Oh. Oh. Oi. Fun little fact, in the music video of String Theocracy, in a few frames you can see that the books do use lorem ipsum. Oh. Amazing. Amazing. Lorem ipsum solo di a me or something. String Theocracy is also such a nice song. Also, there was something that caught my attention. I think it was... What number was it? 410 or something? Like, all the books are set up in the same way. Can I find it again? 5 bookshelves, 32 books, 410 pages, yeah. Each page 40 lines, each line approximately 80 black letters. 410 important number, it seems. I wonder if there's something with numbers in Ruina somewhere. That would be fun. But yeah, also the UI in Ruina. Probably like the most obvious indicator as well. All the UI elements, and when you burn books, for example, they're hexagonals. And they are hexagonals that touch each other. It's a pattern. Ooh. Well, there is E. True, the value of E. But I don't think 410 is in there. Well, 410 might be in there, but I don't think this correlates to the value of E. Let me go to the fancy picture. There we go. Actually, I can probably blend that out because I need to prepare the next story after a short break. We're gonna talk for a little bit because reading this is exhausting on the voice, to say the least. The next one is actually shorter. But it's funny that you mentioned the value of E because it's related to that. I hope this is the story that I remember. It should be. Let me check. Yeah, this is... I'm pretty sure this is the story. I'm pretty sure this is the story. Oh, I like the next one a lot too. I shall turn myself into a cookie. I don't know if that's healthy, Jakai. Oh. That one, oh yeah, that one part where they were like, oh, there's all kinds of books. Literally that one Spider-Man meme, but in book form. But yeah, these stories can be hard to read, but I really enjoy the concepts behind it, like the endless library. And it's also like reading all of his stories, because I've read a lot of his stories. I think I've read an entire book collection of his already, and I have a second one that I have not finished, I will admit. And I am reading it in German, so that's a little bit easier to read. Though the wording there can also be complicated, but he has so many like crazy short stories with crazy concepts. It's like this man really sat down and he said, yeah, I'm gonna write that at some point. And it's so crazy. It's like pop off, man. I really enjoy these stories, yeah. I would say that we stopped writing to listen to Cinnia. Oh, don't worry about it. You don't need to stop writing. I especially enjoy reading what you thought about the story and what you had to say about it afterwards. So don't stop yourself. It's like sharing internal thoughts, right? While you're experiencing something. So that's actually cool. Hey there, John! I finally got to your message. Aww. She said it's a short book, but it feels like a long book. Yeah, the story feels longer than it is because like it has such big wording. It has such big wording, and like the concept behind it is also kind of big, so it's like a lot to think about. The story seems a description of infinity and chance. Like if you put an immortal monkey on a typewriter, it will eventually write the Bible if given enough time. Yeah, that really fits with that one description where they were like, where the librarians were thinking, oh, maybe we should just write random letters in random books for an infinity of time, and eventually we will accidentally write the book that we're looking for. Like, good luck, man. I have become bookman, prophet of literature. It's so funny, right? You have all this big talk, and then it's like the bookman, the man who read the book. Will you find the bookman? People for centuries tried to find the bookman with the secret of the books. Asher, is the upcoming book the one with the prescripts? I'm going full Denglish here, Jesus Christ. On a bicycle. On Christmas Day. Because he's feeling pretty cool. Yes. Yes. Woo! I'm throwing down stuff here on my table. Just me things. Just me things. But yeah, you are correct. The next story is about... It's time for another vendetta. Vendetta, everyone! The next one will be about the prescripts, which we actually haven't seen on stream when I played Library of Ruina yet, because it ain't me, game sucks. It's not me, it's the game. I'm not the problem. I'm not the problem. Game's too hard. Must be a bug. That's why I lose. So, yeah. It appears a little bit later in the game, and we haven't seen that on stream yet, but if you know, you know. We all have heard the song, though. I've sang it many times. Children of the City is related to the story. Yes, the prescripts wills. I will still, you know, talk for a little bit, though. Because otherwise, the stream is over so fast. Because I only have 2 stories. You know, I probably could have even put in a 3rd one. Because even though the stories are long, I read rather fast. This should be interesting. Yeah, this one, I think this one is really interesting. I like this one. The prescript told you to hydrate. Yeah, my prescript arrives in approximately 11 minutes, actually, and it will tell you how to stay healthy. So, you know, watch out for that. My prescript is gonna tell you to stay healthy. Just download the win mod? No, we don't cheat. We don't cheat in this household. We make things, you know, we make things a little bit more convenient sometimes, but we don't cheat. Have mercy, Bookman, I can't read. Have mercy with your crazy words, Bookman. We're sitting here, head empty. Oh yeah, I do that every day. Hi, Amate. When could you play Devil May Cry 3? Oh, I don't intend to play that. I might play 5 at some point, but I'm not sure if I want to play it on stream or in my private time. Cinnia buns are like a garden. Sin waters us each hour. Yes. You need to grow strong. Become the Cinnia bun army. We need more buns. In exactly 10 minutes, consume over 300 milliliters of water. Honestly, that's too much even for me. That's too much for me. It's so weird. I feel like I don't need a lot of water. Unless my body, you know, very urgently tells me. And then it usually tells me with like, oh hey, you're getting a little dizzy there, you maybe should drink. But otherwise it's like, okay, I don't really care, drink a drop of water during the entire day. And that's whatever, do whatever you want. You can't just chug down an entire liter at once. I don't understand how people can do that. How can people drink so much? My mom does that. She can fucking devour the entire liquid in a bottle, whatever it may be, in one fucking chug. And I stand there and I stare at her and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How can you do that? How do you not have to throw up after that, actually? If I chugged down an entire bottle, I would just throw up. How? Like, even half a bottle, like, how do you keep that inside? It's like, my body gets so overwhelmed. Hey, Telepio! Yeah, thank you. We've read one crazy story before, and taking a little break to prepare for the next one. I'm thinking if I want to wait until hydration time, and then we hydrate, and then I start reading. Because, like, we're on a roll and it's like only 7 more minutes, so we might as well, right? More buns for consumption? That too. I'm just saying, Cinnia buns are probably really delicious, okay? Do you know if you will sing Devils Never Cry? I haven't listened to the song yet. Maybe if I end up liking it. But then I wouldn't tell you because it's a secret what I work on. And then one day I'll be like, boom, here's the song everyone has been waiting for, but I never actually confirmed that I'm gonna do it, but now you get it. Surprise. Here's me chugging liter bottles. It's really normal though. No, what the fuck? That's so crazy. How can you chug down so much anything? You know, maybe I'm the weird one, okay? Maybe I'm the weird one. I also eat, like, I don't know, a bird. I'm a really slow eater. I only take, like, super tiny bites. So I take longer. I eat everything and I eat enough, but I'm just slow. Oh. You have to make sure there's both water in and air out of your throat. What? What? You once drank water so fast you almost drowned? Oh yeah. When my mom chugged that whole bottle, I also asked her, how do you not drown? How do you not drown while drinking? Look, we all know Sin is working on the Baby Shark cover, but we don't have to talk about it. You know, of all the songs you could have picked, of all the songs out there in this whole entire world, you had to pick Baby Shark. I'm not gonna sing it. We're gonna get copyright strided. Stricken, struck, copyright destroyed, obliterated. You squeezed the bottle too quickly? Don't squeeze your bottle. Or very softly. Do it very softly. You must Baby Shark like I have. I don't have to do anything. I have to breathe. Well, technically I don't have to, right? Who's forcing me to breathe, actually? But, you know, I advise against not doing that. Oh. Oh. Your body's forcing you to breathe? I mean, I guess, but you could also force your body to not breathe. You know what this is getting? I feel like we're heading into a direction that we shouldn't head into. Yeah, don't squeeze your bottles or you will drown. Breathing is overrated? True. True. Oh. But you know what's not underrated? Overrated? Shit. Wrong way around. You know what's not overrated? Tea. And I need more of it. Because there's too much sage in mine. And it's kind of disgusting, not gonna lie. Oi! There we go. 3 more minutes, everyone, then the prescript is happening. Sage tea? Yeah, I always put a little bit of... I put a bit of sage. I have 2 cans, right, of tea that I make every morning. One is fruit tea and one is sage, because it's good for... It's just good for health and your throat. So I mix them. I put a little bit of sage tea and then above it, everything else is just fruit tea, so I can bear with the sage taste. Novikov, hey there! Who are we calling and why is it Ishmael? Yes. Though, we might be calling someone called Jan instead in a few minutes. Cinnia tea merch? Oh, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I wonder if we could make something like that. I wonder what options there are, besides, you know, having a cup. Of course, that's like the basic classic, but maybe there's something more special. Cinnia custom flavored tea merch. Let's go. Tested and approved. Mango tea is also a thing. I don't know if I like mango flavored stuff. It's usually kinda... I don't know. It doesn't really taste that good. Yeah, my own blend of tea. Cinnamon tea doesn't sound that good. Say that again? Fruit tea with a pinch of cinnamon? That sounds great in my ears. That sounds great in my ears. I think that would be a bit hard to get in Germany. I mean, I don't produce the merch, right? I just discuss everything with Hai Taicha and then and my voice is dying there. I discuss with Hai Taicha what we want to do for events and then they do the rest. They produce all this stuff. Lemon, honey and a pinch of cinnamon. Hot take, but I actually don't like honey. I think it kind of tastes bad. It's like I want to... It's so weird because I want to like honey, but it's kind of disgusting. The only thing I think is amazing are honey waffles. Honey waffles are so fucking good, I love them. But it's like the mixture of the honey and the waffle. Just putting honey on stuff, I don't know. It's so... Ugh. You okay? Yes, I am okay. I might not seem like it, but I am okay. Do you like sugar? Depends. Not too much. I mean, of course I eat a lot of stuff with sugar in it, but like for example, I don't put any sugar in my tea. And I also don't like chocolate that's too sugary. Like milk chocolate I don't eat anymore, for example, because it's just too much sugar. Stroopwafels, yeah! Let's go! Stroopwafels! There's a lot of honey flavors. Maybe you tried a bad one? I mean, I've tried multiple honeys, but it always kind of tastes... It's like the first second, it's like, hey, this could be good. And then the aftertaste comes and it's like... Also, prescript time, everyone! Your prescript for today reads... Stretch! And hydrate, or you die! Sushi sauce, hey there! This joke is probably already ran to the ground, but the Project Moon fan is reading. We did have that joke in the Library of Ruina stream, I believe. And even a Limbus stream, I think. But yeah, I know. I know. I seem to be a rare breed. I will not pretend I always understand what I read, but I do read. Oh, speaking of read, I started another book the other day that I still had around. What's it called? A magic steeped in poison, I think? It's like... It's about tea magic. Like they have a tea magic system in that. And they use magic through brewing tea, and it's really cool. And I heard it's really good, so I'm still at the start of the book, but it seems really promising. And I haven't been reading enough books. Your phone is at 3%? Oh no, you're gonna die! You're gonna disappear. Sounds cool, yeah. It's really cool so far. But you know what else is cool? Wow! Stories! Stories we're reading right now. Also, I noticed a little fact. Bye, Dante! I noticed a little something earlier. This will now be the reading stream.
Jorge Luis Borges.
Oh hey, that's the offer name!
TR. Andrew Hurley.
Let's go!
New York, Penguin Putnam, 1998.
Hell yeah!
101 to 106.
Okay, no. I'm gonna read it myself. But I noticed there is a reader. An automatic one. So, hey. Life hack, exactly! Hold on, actually, wait, that's so good, because let's hear that again.
Jorge Luis Borges.
Jorge Luis Borges. Jorge Luis Borges. Jorge Luis Borges. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Depending on the language. If you said it in German, it would be Jorge Luis Borges. Yeah, the Spanish type of J. So that makes sense. That makes sense. Now it makes sense. Still, what a crazy ass name. Hi, True Neutral. The fabled Hamburgers. Oh my god. Cinnia voiced AI. Wouldn't that be awesome for alerts and such? That would be funny. But also you would probably abuse it for really bad stuff, so never mind, let's not do that. Never mind. Jorge is a very Spanish name? Yeah, yeah. It seems like it. Okay. Okay, are we ready? It is time for the next story. Okay, here we go. The lottery in Babylon. maybe I should give you some information about that first, actually. So in Library of Ruina, there's a certain area and a certain fight tied to it, which is a section of the city that is all about so-called prescripts. If you get a prescript, you have to fulfill it, no matter what it says. And if it says kill your neighbor or something, then you have to do that, because that's your prescript. And if you don't do that, well, we can all guess what happens when you don't do what your prescript says. You have to abide and live by them. And there can be anything in them. Maybe you're lucky and it's something nice, or, you know, maybe you get your usual prescript and it will be something like murder your family. It can be anything, really. And the prescripts, and I didn't know this until I read the story in the short storybook collection that I had. The prescripts are most likely based on the Lottery of Babylon. Because I was reading that and I'm like, wait a minute. I know this. I know what's happening here. So, let's go in. The Lottery in Babylon. Like all the men of Babylon, I have been proconsul. Like all, I have been a slave. I have known omnipotence, ignominy, imprisonment. Look here, my right hand has no index finger. Look here, through this gash in my cape you can see on my stomach a crimson tattoo. It is the second letter, Beth. On nights when the moon is full, the symbol gives me power over man with the mark of Gimel, but it subjects me to those with the Aleph, who on nights when there is no moon owe obedience to those marked with the Gimel. In the half-light of dawn, in a cellar, standing before a black altar, I have slit the throats of sacred bulls. Once, for an entire lunar year, I was declared invisible. I would carry out, and no one would heed my call. I would cry out, and no one would heed my call even. I would steal bread and not be beheaded. I have known that thing the Greeks knew not, uncertainty. In a chamber of brass, as I faced the strangler's silent scarf, hope did not abandon me. In the river of the lights, panic has not failed me. Heraclitus Ponticus reports, admiringly, that Pythagoras recalled having been Pyrrhus, and before that, Euphorbus, and before that, some other mortal. In order to recall similar vicissitudes, I have no need of death, nor even of imposture. I owe that almost monstrous variety to an institution, the lottery, which is unknown in other nations, or at work in them imperfectly or secretly. I have not delved into this institution's history. I know that sages cannot agree. About its mighty purposes I know as much as a man untutored in astrology might know about the moon. Mine is a dizzying country in which the lottery is a major element of reality. Until this day, I have thought as little about it as about the conduct of the indecipherable gods or of my heart. Now, far from Babylon and its beloved customs, I think with some bewilderment about the lottery, and about the blasphemous conjectures that shrouded man whisper in the half-light of dawn or evening. My father would tell me once, long ago, centuries? Years? The lottery in Babylon was a game played by commoners. He would tell, though whether this is true or not I cannot say, how barbers would take a man's copper coins and give back rectangles made of bone or parchment and adorned with symbols. Then, in broad daylight, a drawing would be held. Those smiled upon by fate would, with no further corroboration by chance, win coins minted of silver. The procedure, as you can see, was rudimentary. Naturally, those so-called lotteries were a failure. They had no moral force whatsoever. They appealed not to all a man's faculties, but only to his hopefulness. Public indifference soon meant that the merchants who had founded these venal lotteries began to lose money. Someone tried something new, including among the list of lucky numbers a few unlucky draws. This innovation meant that those who brought those numbered rectangles now had a twofold chance. They might win a sum of money, or they might be required to pay a fine. Sometimes a considerable one. As one might expect, the small risk, for every 30 good numbers there was one ill-omened one, piqued the public's interest. Babylonians flocked to buy tickets. The man who bought none was considered a pusillanimous wretch, a man with no spirit of adventure. In time, this justified contempt found a second target, not just the man who didn't play, but also the man who lost and paid the fine. The company, as it was now beginning to be known, had to protect the interests of the winners, who could not be paid their prizes unless the pot contained almost the entire amount of the fines. A lawsuit was filed against the losers. The judge sentenced them to pay the original fine plus court costs or spend a number of days in jail. In order to thwart the company, they all chose jail. From that gauntlet thrown down by a few men sprang the company's omnipotence. Its ecclesiastical, metaphysical force. Sometime after this, the announcements of the numbers drawn began to leave out the lists of fines and simply print the days of prison assigned to each losing number. That shorthand, as it were, which went virtually unnoticed at the time, was of utmost importance. It was the first appearance of non-pecuniary elements in the lottery. And it met with great success. Indeed, the company was forced by its players to increase the number of unlucky drawers. As everyone knows, the people of Babylon are great admirers of logic and even of symmetry. It was inconsistent that lucky numbers should pay off in round silver coins, while unlucky ones were measured in days and nights of jail. Certain moralists argued that the possession of coins did not always bring about happiness, and that other forms of happiness were perhaps more direct. The lower-caste neighborhoods of the city voiced a different complaint. The members of the priestly class gambled heavily, and so enjoyed all the vicissitudes of terror and hope. The poor, with understandable or inevitable envy, saw themselves denied access to that famously delightful, even sensual wheel. The fair and reasonable desire that all men and women, rich and poor, be able to take part equally in a lottery inspired indignant demonstrations, the memory of which time has failed to dim. Some stubborn souls could not, or pretended they could not, understand that this was a novus ordo seclorum, a necessary stage of history. A slave stole a crimson ticket. The drawing determined that that ticket entitled the bearer to have his tongue burned out. The code of law provided the same sentence for stealing a lottery ticket. Some Babylonians argued that the slave deserved the burning iron for being a thief. Others, more magnanimous, that the executioner should employ the iron because thus fate had decreed. There were disturbances. There were regrettable instances of bloodshed. But the masses of Babylon at last, over the opposition of the well-to-do, imposed their will. They saw their generous objectives fully achieved. First, the company was forced to assume all public power. The unification was necessary because of the vastness and complexity of the new operations. Second, the lottery was made secret, free of charge and open to all. The mercenary sale of lots was abolished. Once initiated into the mysteries of Baal, every free man automatically took part in the sacred drawings, which were held in the labyrinths of the god every 60 nights and determined each man's destiny until the next drawing. The consequences were incalculable. A lucky draw might bring about a man's elevation to the council of the Magi, or the imprisonment of his enemy, secret or known by all to be so, or might allow him to find, in the peaceful dimness of this room, the woman who would begin to disturb him, or whom he had never hoped to see again, an unlucky draw. Mutilations, dishonor of many kinds, death itself, sometimes a single event, the murder of C in a tavern, these mysterious apotheosis, would be the inspired outcome of 30 or 40 drawings. Combining bets was difficult, but we must recall that the individuals of the company were, and still are, all powerful and clever. In many cases, the knowledge that certain happy turns were the simple results of chance would have lessened the force of those outcomes. To forestall that problem, agents of the company employed suggestion, or even magic. The paths they followed, the intrigues they wove, were invariably secret. To penetrate the innermost hopes and innermost fears of every man, they called upon astrologers and spies. There were certain stone lions, a sacred latrine called Kafka, Some cracks in the dusty aqueduct. These places, it was generally believed, gave access to the company, and well or ill-wishing persons would deposit confidential reports in them. An alphabetical file held those dossiers of varying veracity. Incredibly, there was talk of favoritism, of corruption. With its customary discretion, the company did not reply directly. Instead, it scrawled its brief argument in the rubble of a mask factory. This apologia is now numbered among the sacred scriptures. It pointed out doctrinally that the lottery is an interpolation of chance into the order of the universe, and observed that to accept arrows is to strengthen chance, not contravene it. It also noted that those lions, that sacred squatting place, though not disavowed by the company, which reserved the right to consult them, functioned with no official guarantee. This statement quieted the public's concerns, but it also produced other effects perhaps unforeseen by its author. It profoundly altered both the spirit and the operation of the company. I have but little time remaining. We are told that the ship is about to sail, but I will try to explain. However unlikely it may seem, no one, until that time, had attempted to produce a general theory of gaming. Babylonians are not a speculative people. They obey the dictates of chance, surrender their lives, their hopes, their nameless terror to it, but it never occurs to them to delve into the labyrinthine laws, or the revolving spheres that manifest its workings. Nonetheless, the semi-official statement that I mentioned inspired numerous debates of a legal and mathematical nature. From one of them, there emerged the following conjecture. If the lottery is an intensification of chance, a periodic infusion of chaos into the cosmos, then is it not appropriate that chance intervene in every aspect of the drawing, not just one? Is it not ludicrous that chance should dictate a person's death while the circumstances of the death, whether private or public, whether drawn out for an hour or a century, should not be subject to chance? Those perfectly reasonable objections finally prompted sweeping reform. Complexities of the new system, complicated further by its having been in practice for centuries, are understood by only a handful of specialists, though I will attempt to summarize them, even if only symbolically. Let us imagine a first drawing which condemns a man to death. In pursuance of that decree, another drawing is held. Out of that second drawing come, say, 9 possible executors. Of those 9, 4 might initiate a third drawing to determine the name of the executioner. 2 might replace the unlucky draw with a lucky one. The discovery of a treasure, say. Another might decide that the death should be exacerbated. Death with dishonor, that is, or with the refinement of torture. Others might simply refuse to carry out the sentence. That is the scheme of the lottery. Put symbolically, in reality, the number of drawings is infinite. No decision is final. All branch into others. The ignorant assume that infinite drawings require infinite time. Actually, all that is required is that time be infinitely subdivisible, as in the famous parable of the race with the tortoise. That infinitude coincides remarkably well with the sinuous numbers of chance and with the heavenly archetype of the lottery beloved by Platonists. Some distorted echo of our custom seems to have reached the Vtubers. In his life of Antoninus Heliogabalus, alias Lampridius, tells us that the emperor wrote out on seashells the fate that he intended for his guests at dinner. Some would receive 10 pounds of gold, others 10 houseflies, 10 dormice, 10 bears. It is fair to recall that Heliogabalus was raised in Asia Minor, among the priests of his eponymous god. There are also impersonal drawings, whose purpose is unclear. One drawing decreed that a sapphire from Taprobana be thrown into the waters of the Euphrates, another that a bird be released from the top of a certain tower, another that every 100 years a grain of sand be added to or taken from the countless grains of sand on a certain beach. Sometimes the consequences are terrible. Under the company's beneficent influence, our customs are now steeped in chance. The purchaser of a dozen amphora of Damascene wine will not be surprised if one contains a talisman or a viper. The scribe who writes out a contract never fails to include some error. I myself, in this hurried statement, have mispresented some splendor, some atrocity perhaps too, some mysterious monotony. Our historians, the most perspicacious on the planet, have invented a method for correcting chance. It is well known that the outcomes of this method are, in general, trustworthy, although, of course, they are never divulged without a measure of deception. Besides, there is nothing so tainted with fiction as the history of the company. A paleographic document unearthed at a certain temple may come from yesterday's drawing or from a drawing that took place centuries ago. No book is published without some discrepancy between each of the edition's copies. Scribes take a secret oath to omit, interpolate, alter. Indirect falsehood is also practiced. The company, with godlike modesty, shuns all publicly. Its agents, of course, are secret. The orders it constantly, perhaps continually imparts are no different from those spread wholesale by impostors. Besides, who will boast of being a mere impostor? The drunken man who blurts out an absurd command, the sleeping man who suddenly awakes and turns and chokes to death the woman sleeping at his side. Are they not perhaps implementing one of the company's secret decisions? That silent functioning, like gods, inspires all manner of conjectures. One scurrilously suggests that the company ceased to exist hundreds of years ago and that the sacred disorder of our lives is purely hereditary, traditional. Another believes that the company is eternal and teaches that it shall endure until the last night, when the last god shall annihilate the earth. Yet another declares that the company is omnipotent, but affects only small things, the cry of a bird, the shades of rust and dust, the half-dreams that come at dawn. Another, whispered by masked heresiarchs, say that the company has never existed and never will. Another, no less despicable, argues that it makes no difference whether one affirms or denies the reality of the shadowy corporation, because Babylon is nothing but an infinite game of chance. And there we go. Imagine every single year you draw from a random lottery and it will just decide how the next year of your life is gonna be. You could become high-class rich person, or you could land in prison. Yay. Sounds like those people would make great gacha addicts. Oh, I mean, they kinda are, aren't they? My verdict, bruh. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. At least you know the future? Yeah, but like, what if your prescript says you lose an arm? Do you want to know that future? It's like it only decides what's gonna happen next, basically. You're in danger with the gacha raid? Understandable, have a great day. My voice died a little bit there, I'm sorry about that. Today my throat isn't doing that great. It was doing better the past few days, but like today it's kind of bleh. It's not as bad as last week though, so I still went with the reading stream. Because I wanted to read those and not move it again. Losing an arm doable? Doable, but you shouldn't? Maybe you shouldn't. Maybe don't. Project Moon really did adapt these stories earnestly. Yeah, very much so. It's really cool. They basically in the games they took the main concepts of these stories and they said, okay, let's make it a district in the city. Or just make it, you know, one became the library and basically the lottery in Babylon is just one of the districts of the city. Where they always get prescripts and have to live by them. Even if they say really bad stuff that you might not want to do. The Lottery of Babel. What I like, so by the end it became a little bit, you know, English major definitely. But I really like the setup of the story where it does the world building of like, oh, this is how the lottery even came to be. It started with money making and then they just made the lottery decide their entire lives. They just made it decide their entire fucking life. Oh, this year I will be rich and the next year I guess I die. And they just accept that. Okay. That is the 2 stories for today though. Let me get a little bit closer. Very close. Hello. Okay, maybe that's a bit too close. I will just sit here. I will sit in here. It's cozy in here. There we go. Big sin. Big. Oh, I can't drag this further. There you go. Big. Okay. Enough toying around. Actually, though, I can be very small too. I can be tiny. Tiny sin. Oh, okay, I'm having too much fun. Too many shenanigans. Cinnia Antimony. Okay, that's a good one. Mini Cinny. Cinny Mini. No, wait, that's copyrighted. Mini Cinny. Okay. Mini Cinny. Let you screenshot small sin. Okay. Here you go again. You may screenshot. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that's enough time. There we go. Wait, that's copyrighted? Cinny Mini is a type of cereal by Nestle, I think. Cinny Minis. And they're like squares with cinnamon spirals on them. So I need to be Mini Cinny instead. Then it works. Tasty but unhealthy. What isn't nowadays? Honestly. Oh, something I noticed about the Prescript story, right? I feel like maybe I'm misremembering, but I thought there were a few details that I remembered from the story that I didn't actually see again. I think it was a little bit more detailed about the punishments, because maybe it's a translation thing, because I believe in the German version I read that they like more directly mentioned them having to do certain stuff until the next lottery is drawn. But maybe the translator, whoever translated the German one, just, you know, made it a little bit more simplified in its writing to make it more direct. That could also be the case. But it's also interesting to read something that I have read in German before, again in English. Possible? Yeah. Maybe. I would have to check the book again. The book is actually... It should be somewhere next to me in my bookshelf. But I felt I remembered like a few more details. What are the odds though? I don't know, maybe I should draw a Prescript. Maybe that will tell me. Oh. Make sure to check the book out in the library of Babel? What? Germany. Oh my god, did I really was about to read Germany, huh? Germany does have a few niche censorship laws. Germany does have a few niche. Oh my god, I'm having a fucking stroke. Germany does have a few niche censorship laws. There we go. I can't speak today. Which is surprising because I think I did somewhat well on reading the crazy words in the story, but like now my Denglish is just going ham. Germany. I don't know if it's really niche censorship. It's just companies are weird. Everywhere in the world, I feel. I remember how CNC Generals and Left 4 Dead had to go through a lot of loops to publish in Germany. Oh yeah, but like that was because I think they used to have more strict laws on what do you call it when something is banned from being released? I forgot the proper term for it. But yeah, they had stricter laws on media that is too violent. And they kinda eased up on that. Or rather, they had to make, you know, some adjustments, and then they said, okay, that still works. But they're not as tight anymore as they used to be back then. Just go full German for 5 minutes to get it out of your system. Ja gut, dann machen wir jetzt ein bisschen deutschen Stream. Wie wär's damit? Hallo, willkommen zum deutschen Stream. Deutsch. Welcome to the German stream. German. Welcome. Okay, no. That should be enough. There we go. Now I spilled out the German. Now I'm fine again. Oh. I like your magic words, German woman. Amazing. Instruction unclear. The prescripts are in German. Now, wouldn't that suck? You just get a German prescript and you have no idea what it says. I thought I was having a stroke just now. I had stream muted, then checked again as you were speaking German. Surprise. That wasn't a German jump scare, that was a German massacre. Well, I think that's, you know what? It fits in the Christmas vibes. So, viable. Viable. But yeah, I will wrap it up soon. I will wrap it up in a few minutes. And then, I don't know. Punch my voice, I guess. Not sure if that helps, but maybe it does something. The prescript told you to rest your voice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna do as the prescript says. Now that I think about it, the Lottery of Babylon and Library of Babel really is a horror story? Well, I mean, if you think about it, they're kinda uncanny, yes. I mean, the endless library where people just endlessly search for a certain book and a lot of them, you know, just decide to end their search. To the point where the author of the, well, the character whose point of view we're having in the short story is like, I don't know if humanity might be extinct or close to extinction already with how many people disappear. It's like, yeah, Don't... I'm not actually... Okay, don't worry, I'm not actually gonna punch my throat. Don't worry. Wonder if Limbus is going to mention Silent Night again now that Christmas side story is coming soon. Maybe. Maybe. Endless prescripts where you don't know the language. Maybe you need to go to the library to find out. The library has all languages. Not on purpose, but you never know. That's too real. Okay, that's too real. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. I know I sometimes hit myself on accident, but you know. I won't hit my throat, I think. Now I'm thinking of several ways how that could happen and I don't like any of them. Babelic language where each language character is interpreted differently for every person. Let's go. Say, when was the last time you read a sweet, fluffy story with a happy ending? I did read a story with a happy ending, but it was not sweet or fluffy. I mean, it was sweet, but it was definitely not fluffy. The last story I finished reading, I think, was This Is How You Lose the Time War. And well, it's two factions having a war across time and space. And two lovers trying to escape from that war. So not really fluffy. Not really a fluffy story. A sweet story, not a fluffy one. Yours was Cardcaptor Sakura. Oh, I love Cardcaptor Sakura. I used to watch the old show with my family. You know what is fluffy? Coco and Piper. True! True, very true. I'm genuinely trying to think of like a sweet story. Did I read anything that is sweet only or positive only? I don't think so. I mean, stories are often driven by conflict, so like it's likely that there is some sort of conflict in there, but like the conflicts in the stories that I've been reading are always kind of Yeah, it can't be just sweet. Otherwise, there probably wouldn't be much of a story. Cocoa coated in sugar. That is sweet and fluffy. Though cocoa is also sweet and fluffy without the extra sugar. You know, I thought the story of Reverse 1999 was pretty had a very positive, well, the current one that is out had a positive ending. You know, if you just look away from timelines being destroyed, I guess. That's the thing, everything I read, it's like, oh, timelines are getting destroyed, or a world is dying, or there's a war across time and space, or I don't know, someone deletes 80% of humanity. Reverse 1999 story is amazing. Have you played the event? I haven't paid attention to the event because I couldn't get myself to care. I just care about the main story. The main story is so depressing. Of which one of these? Manus Vindicte is still doing stuff, let that sink in. Yeah, Emo News is still out there, wreaking havoc. The event is main story? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't see how the event story, like, how would something in between connect to whatever is next. I can probably just read a summary on that. I don't like timed events. Here we go. I'm saying it. I don't like timed events. Gachas are getting on my nerves. I love gacha games, but like, if I don't feel like playing, I don't want to force myself. I don't care anymore. I've been playing gachas for so long. If there's a timed event story or something, I just watch a summary and then play again when the main story comes out, because I just don't care anymore. Timeline's destroyed? As long as it isn't ma. and they're gone. Timed events are downright hateful. Yeah. I like how Limbus integrates the events into the actual story. Yeah, I like it there too, because they mention it later as well, so like through the entire main story, the side story stays relevant. And the side story gives you world building that is relevant and important for the main story that's about to come, so there it's fine. But I don't know, when Star Rail gives me another fucking Pokemon fake events, I just don't give a fuck. I don't care. I'm here to play Star Rail, not Pokemon. Why is your events 6 hours long? I'm not gonna play your 6-hour Pokemon event anymore. I'm tired. Oh. It's nice that the side story stays after the event in Limbus. Yeah, I like when gachas do that. There's multiple gachas that have the system, which I think is really nice. There are currently 2 events out right now, and this shit is taking forever to finish for me. That's also a thing. A lot of gachas overshoot with the time you need to finish the events, and it's like, I know you want to deliver content, but why do you demand so much of my time for repetitive, grindy shit? So I can get the rewards. Or why is your story, you know, in the Star Rail case with the Pokemon thing, why is your story so fucking bloated that it takes 6 hours to finish this event when I just want to play? That one was such a slog. I finished the first segment in 4 hours and then dropped it. Yeah, that one is so long. It's so long. And it's like, I don't want to play your game anymore. Or well, I want to play your game, but you don't let me. That's also an issue. At least management sim is fun. Never touched the game after that though. Understandable. I have work and cute anime girls to watch. Valid. Valid. Valid reason. But yeah, I don't know. They just... A lot of gachas just demand too much time from you for something that is essentially not giving you anything significant in return. Or for you having to... Like, even if you skip stuff, having to grind too long to get the rewards you want. So, yeah, I'm at the point where I do my main story chapter and then I'm like, peace out, and I disappear for 5 months until the next main story chapter comes out. Because that's all I care about. This is Arkar from timeline 42. That is a great timeline. Welcome, Arkar 42. My dopamine is not being released from grinding gacha events anymore. Yes, that very much that. Yeah, same. It just makes me depressed, honestly, at this point. I just want it to be done. And then it's like, okay, why am I actually playing this game? Do I play this game because I want to play this game, or because I feel like I have an obligation to get my rewards? And it's like, that's the point where usually I do self-check and then I'm like, okay, peace out. I'm not gonna touch this game for the next 5 months. That's why they give you the option to pay sweet money for the rewards. I mean, they can, but like, ciao cacao, as I like to say. I'm not gonna pay them. And it's like, it's also like, what do you grind for to get all the rewards? To make the next event that is also taking 6 hours easier? Like, you know, it doesn't effectively change anything about the fun you're having. I can just buy a game with finished story instead. Yeah, that's also possible. The thing is, games with a finished story, I often have issues committing. I feel like starting up the game, like being like, okay, I'm gonna play this game now and I'm gonna commit like the next few hours so I can actually see some of the story. I need to be in a mood, and then often I'm not in a mood because I just want to play something, but I want to play quickly. So it's easier to do a story stage in a gacha or something and then do some dailies and leave. That's why they are so appealing to start over an actual story game. But then story games are so good. Basically an efficient 6-hour clear? Yeah. I believe that event that I mentioned, I skipped all the scenes, all the cutscenes, and even when I rushed, I think it was still 5 hours or something till I got done with everything and got my rewards. And what can I say? I stopped playing Star for the time being after that event. After I was done, I stopped. I have logged in like thrice since then. Because I can't do it. I log in and I'm like, it's giving me dread. You're still on your first Baldur's Gate run, it takes forever. Yeah, that's my issue too. It's like, I really want to play Baldur's Gate, but I know it's gonna take me like 60 more hours at least to get anywhere near the end. If I'm lucky. Which probably won't be enough, because I like to do all the side quests and everything. So, I have issues starting up the game and committing to it. It's also like Baldur's Gate takes so long. 2 hours? You invest 2 hours and you maybe did one like little event or something in the game. Because there's so much. There's so much in this game. Which is good. The game is definitely worth its price, okay? But like... I need to commit so many hours to be able to get there. And I really want to, but like, I don't feel like it. But I really want to know what's happening next. And I really don't want to play. Baldur's Gate took you 150 hours to finish? Yeah, that's more like me. That is a very likely amount. You haven't finished Lobotomy Core because you were genuinely confused? Yeah, true. Understandable. I played Lobotomy until I got eaten by a poodle. And then I took a break. At least it's not an MMO level of commitment. I'm an MMO lover, actually. But that's also because the nature of MMOs is similar to gacha, right? You can hop in, you can do some story, and then maybe you can do a fight or some dailies if you want to, and then you can leave. So you can hop in at any time and you can leave at any time. And let's just say I have way too many hours. You know what? Hours doesn't even describe it anymore. I have way too many days. Weeks. Okay, let's go with weeks actually. I have too many weeks in Final Fantasy XIV, okay? But I will also say, like, if you just play this as a single player story game, the game is really amazing. And a lot of MMOs, like this is the only MMO I think that does it this way. Where you can just play it as if you were playing a single player JRPG. So hey. Just one cave. Cave turns out to be a complete sub-story. Yeah, exactly. Here, you're heading on the super important path and there's 2 random dudes on the path there. By the way, these 2 random dudes now follow you and do an entire, like, cave raid with you. And then you find new stuff in the cave and it's like, oh my god. But yeah. You know what to play? New Vanillaware coming next February. Alright, they're working on a new game. I saw that, I saw that. Me having Stockholm Syndrome with League of Legends doesn't let me drop that game. Been playing for 8 years. Isn't that like almost every League player though? I only play Aram in League, I will say. I still play League of Legends, but I only play Arams because if you flame in Arams, everyone knows you're cringe. And everyone points and laughs at you. Because who flames an Aram, right? By the way, Aram, if any of you don't play League of Legends, because why would you? It means all random, all mid, so you get random champions gacha rolled to you and there's only one lane. that you try to win and destroy the enemy nexus on. It's one-way street, random characters. So like, you don't have any power over who you get, and you might also get someone you have never played. So that's why it's like, it's not a serious mode, and if anyone flames, everyone points and laughs at them, because it's like, why the fuck you flaming? There's nothing to flame about in this game mode. You haven't played League in years and now it just confuses you? Yeah. Honestly, even if you were up to date, the literal next patch is gonna confuse you. But yeah, I only play Aram because normal games in League are just too toxic. Like I usually try to stand above toxicness and just ignore people and report them and like mute them and everything. You know what you can do when something like that happens. But in League it's just frustrating because first of all, usually the ones who flame are the ones who suck the hardest in your team. So like they play like shit and then they just keep spamming the chat with insults and like blaming you for sometimes not even anything happening. Sometimes they already insult you for picking a certain character and it's like it's frustrating. It's frustrating. The only game that is more frustrating to me than League is probably Overwatch. I had been playing Overwatch 2 for a while because my friend really liked playing and we played together, and I wanted to, you know, just have something we can spend time on, just hop and play around. And yeah, lol, I know. That's deteriorated so fucking quickly from the launch of Overwatch 2 to, you know, now. The people became so fucking toxic. The day I uninstalled Overwatch 2 was the day where I had 5 games in a row. Quick play games, by the way, not ranked, okay? Just basic quick play. I had 5 games in a row, and in each and every fucking game of them, I got insulted multiple times and just attacked by some random dude because they just insulted everyone. And it was so fucking toxic that that was the day where I was like, you know what? I don't want to play this. I'm so sorry, but I don't want to play this game anymore. And that was also the day my friend was like, yeah, me neither. And I think my friend has played like twice since then or something. She's like slightly touching the game again, but like since then we haven't really played. That was an actual horrible day. Like the most shitty team experience you can imagine was all just every single game on that day, and then I left. You spend 200-ish hours on Ruina, even then it's just you leaving the game idle because you like the lobby music. Yeah, that's a good reason though. It's so Jova Watch. Yeah, no, the game is fucking dead. It's dead. And it's not coming back. Reporting in League is just to make you feel better. I'm not convinced it does anything. Oh, Telepiel, it does. Sometimes it does. You know what's the real the real satisfaction moment in League? When you log into your account and you get a pop-up saying, thanks for your report. We have taken action against the player. And that's like, yeah. Simply for that pop-up you could play League. That is like, so satisfying. When you see that, and you know that bitch that flamed in that last game, they at least have a 7-day ban. That happens, yeah. As soon as someone is rude, I report their ass. I don't leave anyone unscathed who's being shitty in that game. And usually, they get a clap on the back of their head for it. Sin is going mad with power. I will say, I get happy when bitches get bad. Reasonably so. It's like, just don't be an asshole to the people who play with you. It's not that hard. Like, you can be mad. You can punch your screen if you see a Teemo. You can be angry. It's okay. You can even comment something like that you were, you know, that this game is not a good game or something. But if you insult others, well, 7-day ban. I will write up that detailed report on your ass. And you bet they're gonna read it. And it's gonna work. Like in season 1, other players used to be able to judge reported plays. I remember that. There was, I don't know if they brought it back or something, but I believe in a somewhat later season, like 3 or 4 maybe? They had that for a while too. You bet when I was waiting in queue for a game, on idle time, I was judging reports. I was judging league reports. I'm like, be gone. Sin knows how to write. I know how to write and to read. Yes, I know, it's crazy. 30 minutes playing, 3 hours writing reports. Well, I'm good at keeping myself short and to the point. So I would just say, this happened, and then there it goes. But yeah. TLDR of all of this. Don't be an asshole in video games. You can have a bad game and you can say that the game is bad, but like, as soon as you attack other players, you don't have a reason to. You can call them off if they attack you first, of course. Then it's like, you know, maybe don't use your hard insults, but you can totally tell them, don't be an asshole. But like, don't be the asshole yourself. That's the lesson of the day. But yeah, I wanted to wrap it up, and we're almost at 2 hours again, so how about we call it a day here? We call it a day here. You know, if you ever get angry in League, just come back to this reading stream and listen to Jorge Luis Borges and his big words, and then you can distract yourself from the anger. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed today's reading stream, and maybe you had a little L moment if you like Project Moon games. And we will probably have a final one next week, though I don't know what to read yet when I do another one. I will cook something up. Maybe we will do a funny or something. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Have a wonderful weekend, of course, as well. Don't forget to buy your presents in time, okay? It's getting close. Literally 1 week left, okay? Don't forget. And have a good morning, day, or night, wherever you are. Goodbye, everyone! 1!